Okay, we're going to create our snow generator using geometry nodes. Project files are in the description. Let's jump in. So I can see it uses a collection of objects, and you can even add more objects in the collection. Let me find something I could use here, something interesting. Yeah, I have this rock, so let me add that. As long as the rock is in the collection, so just add it into the same collection, and you can see snow is added to that as well. So you can see that when I rotate this, the snow also updates. If I rotate the tire, snow updates. If you see this is an head, the snow updates. And if you go to geometry nodes, you can see that we only have a very few nodes here, and some are not even being used, and you can adjust these parameters, how thick the snow is, and I guess you can also animate this, which I did even think of. Go to geometry nodes. I'm just going to start with a Sudan head and give it a subdivision surface so that the surface is smooth, and just so we can see the snow, because this is a white surface, it wouldn't really look very clear. I'm going to go to my asset library and search for a wood material just to see the snow. Wood, I'll use this, I think. Yeah, let me use this. I can create a plane. This is going to hold our geometry generator. We're not going to use this plane, so let me disconnect that. I'm going to bring in this Sudan head, and later we will switch the object to a collection. And what I'm going to do is connect this directly into output and change this to relative, so that this object has the same position, rotation, and scale of the Sudan head. So if I hide Sudan, we can still see the plane or the geometry nodes object. What I'm going to do is create a mask that is going to be the building block of our generator or our snow. And for that, I'm going to use a normal node. And this is going to give me, because what I want to do is get the faces that are facing directly up, because that's usually where the snow is going to fall. So surfaces that where their normals are facing directly up is what I'm going to use. And I can use the normal here to use and separate the XYZ component, and I'm going to use the Z component because that's going to be the faces that are pointing directly up. Now what I'm going to do is use a delete geometry, and delete geometry based off the Z normal direction. And I can see I'm deleting all the faces that are facing up, but I want the inverse. So I'm going to use a compare node. This time I want less than. That will switch up the mask so that we are deleting anything that is not facing up, and this is going to be the value that controls the thickness of our snow. And if I go back to the Sudan head and rotate it, and now you can't really see it because they're sharing the same material, so I'm going to use a set material here that should give us a different material for the other mesh. Now if I rotate Sudan head, you can see that the snow updates as well. One thing to note is in the settings here, if you have this set to origin, you see it won't really rotating the Sudan head will not really update this. So you make sure that this is set to relative, so that when this is rotated, we get that. Now this doesn't really look like snow, so let's make it look like snow. First thing I'm going to do is make sure that these edges are not as sharp. To do that, I'm going to use a subdivision surface node. That should help smooth out things a bit. And then we want the snow to have some thickness, so I'm going to use an extrude mesh, and that should extrude the mesh. Make sure you turn off individuals and push this down like that. You can even add another subdivision up here so that this is smooth again. So yes, now our snow looks too smooth. Okay, let's add some bumpiness using a noise texture. So I'm going to use a set position after the extrude like that, and if I push this on the Z axis, you can see what I'm doing, but I want only the top part. like that. Top part of the extrusion, because you don't want to displace the vertices that are connected to the plane, as that would introduce some gaps. So now let's use a normal node, connect that to the offset. That will push everything outside, and now we can use a vector math, change this to scale, so we can scale this down a bit. But instead of scaling it with this value, we can use a noise texture plugged into here, and you can see we get that. Scale this down, maybe bring the detail a bit up like that. I can even bring back another scale node here, so that I can scale down this again, just to make sure that we have enough detail. And I can even add a math node out here, just to make sure this is set to multiply. Control that a bit. This is the issue I was talking about. If you don't have this connected, you start, when you go down, you see that this is not connected. So make sure that you have that selected, connected like that. Yeah, that looks like snow, I think. If you go in here, now you can just set up some materials. If I rotate this, you can see it works. In the original example, we could add multiple objects. So let's see how we can do that. So I'm going to go into my asset library, just find some things I could use. Let me grab this, maybe just set up what we had before. I have this arcade object, and I'm going to set up a new collection, call it snow objects. And instead of using, go back to the snow generator, instead of using an object here, I'm just going to drag in the snow objects collection. I'll connect this to the as geometry, and again make sure you're using relative so that the snow is placed onto the objects directly. You can see a few problems we're having right now. First of all, we have lost the noisy bump detail we added in, and if another problem is, if I rotate this object, you see that the snow doesn't update as we had before. The reason for that is that since we're using a collection, every object in this collection is brought in as an instance. So we need to realize these instances into actual geometry so that we can get all the detail we need here. So I'm going to do a realize instance, and you can see now we have everything back. The bumpiness of the snow is back, and if I rotate this, the snow updates as well. If I rotate this, the snow updates as well. I can even add more objects. I had a tire in there, and this tire has to be part of the snow objects collection for it to work. Maybe the thickness is a bit too much. You can expose these parameters. I think this is going to be snow depth, so that when I come in here, you can control that. So if you have the quick generator add-on and you want to use this generator in other projects, all you have to do is just save it as a generator. Make sure that the project that contains the generator is saved. I'll just save it as snow generator. And now I also have to name the node. Call this snow generator, just so I can easily find it and I can add it wherever I want. I will do a quick render of this so that I know what it is, and then save it like that. So next time when I want to use it, I can just come in here to the quick generator add-ons. I put it in nature there, add it in, and it may come with the objects that were inside the collection, because it uses that collection in the generator, so you can just switch them out for other objects. So that's it. All the download links are going to be in the description, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.